I'm Cindy Robertson, Head of Genealogy and Special Collections at the Ouachita Parish Public Library.
And I am Laura Peppers, a genealogy associate at the Ouachita Parish Public Library. And this is Talking Headstones, Educating the Living About the Dead. We will be guiding you step by step on how to plan and implement your own cemetery tour.
Determine your goal. We at the Ouachita Parish Public Library start all our programs by referring to our mission, which is to advance literacy, inspire lifelong learning, and strengthen our community by serving everyone in Ouachita Parish. If you have a mission, begin there. If not, think about your goal and why you want to plan a cemetery tour. Do you want to raise awareness for your community or your cemetery? Do you want to promote tourism? Do you want to teach about characters buried there? Are you trying to raise funds? In Genealogy and Special Collections, we support the mission of the library as it relates to family and local history. Knowing your goal will help you plan your tour. This monument belongs to Lemuel Dawson McLean, who lived in Monroe between 1849 and 1910. He was a past president of the Monroe National Bank and founder of the Union Oil Mill in West Monroe. It is one of the beautiful monuments in the Old Monroe Cemetery.
Next, select your cemetery. Once you pick the cemetery you want to highlight, are there any permissions you need to get? Some cemeteries are considered private property. Will your organization need insurance in case someone trips and falls? This leads into the safety factors. You may need the cemetery caretaker to point out to you places to be careful and to clean the grounds before you conduct your tour. Consider handicapped accessibility. Some cemeteries will not be able to accommodate someone in a wheelchair. Take reference pictures of some of the stones you wish to highlight. The inscriptions and iconography, even the makeup of the stone, may be of interest to tour participants. Next, identify and research characters. Who might be of interest to your tour demographic? People such as mayors, philanthropists, the famous, and even the infamous would lead to some interesting stories. For instance, the lady pictured here is Narcissa Grayson Garrett, a Monroe socialite from the late 1800s. She lost her hand in the steamboat wreck of the Buckeye in 1844. Next, research, research, research. Libraries are the absolute best places for books, newspapers, vertical file materials, photos, etc. Not just public libraries, but check the archives at university libraries as well. Many have wonderful finding aids to their collections. Ask your local historical society for help as well and see if there is a local history expert. There's usually one person who's considered the go-to person for historical information.
Consider the format. There are various ways to present a cemetery tour, and the type of tour will make a difference in how you plan. You can have a program in a meeting room with pictures of tombstones and a PowerPoint presentation. You can have a walking tour of the actual cemetery. You could do a combination of these, or you could take a bus to view several historic cemeteries. This image is of a tour that used a bus, and the participants really seemed to enjoy it. Because of the COVID pandemic, face-to-face programming has been suspended in our library for now. We have participated in several FaceTime Live virtual programs and are currently planning a virtual self-guided cemetery tour. This tour will have an accompanying map, both printed and accessible online, that will show significant tombstones and provide biographical information about the characters buried there. In planning for this virtual tour, we realized positives in addition to being able to socially distance participants. Positives such as the tour will be available at the convenience of participants. An unlimited number of people will be able to view the tour. The often uneven terrain of cemeteries won't be a problem for online participants, and weather won't be a consideration. Whatever your format, think about your budget, technology needs, and what plans you have for a backup. Once you know your format, you can prepare your content. You will need images for a PowerPoint presentation, and you will need video if you decide on a virtual tour. You may need to have items printed or enlarged. With our self-guided tour, we plan to have a printed map with the tombstones identified. We want to make it available online, but we still had to get quotes and we'll work with a vendor to get the best price. Gather your information and then organize it in a way that it will be used. Prepare any handouts or visuals. Review your presentation and remove any unnecessary or redundant items. This image is of the Saunders Memorial in the Old Monroe Cemetery. Sidney Saunders is an infamous character in Monroe history. We have a large photo of his memorial mounted on foam core and a copy of his and Annie's marriage license, which you can see him holding in the memorial, that are used as props in the face-to-face tour.
Next, practice, practice, practice. Find a coworker or someone with no prior knowledge about your tour to go with you on a practice run of your tour. They can best tell you where you're running too long or what was unnecessary. Then decide how many people you can accommodate and require a sign-up to attend the tour. I learned this the hard way when over 100 people showed up and were not able to hear very well. This is important in my own experience. If the crowd is too big, it may be hard to hear even with voice amplification. Consider getting a megaphone or a portable speaker and microphone to carry with you and be heard if you decide to accommodate a larger crowd.
Publicize. If you have a marketing or outreach person, enlist their help. They are the experts in publicizing and promoting your functions. Your local historical or genealogical society may also be willing to help. These clubs will often have members who are interested in attending your program. Use traditional means such as newsletters, radio, and TV. Also use social media such as Facebook. Posters and flyers within your organization may also be used. Don't forget to include your logo on printed material. Our newsletter, Cattails, includes a list of programs and patrons know to look there for library happenings.
Showtime. Be prepared at all times to use your backup plan as needed. Don't forget any visual aids if you have them. Before the tour is a good time to promote your organization. For instance, we have a very supportive Friends of the Public Library here in Monroe, and we always promote them at the beginning of every one of our tours. Use a loud and clear voice when speaking, even with voice amplification. Be open to comments and suggestions, and don't be offended if someone corrects you. You may just learn some interesting tidbits that will help you in future tours. This is true in my own experience when an elderly lady at one of my tours shared a very interesting story about Annie Saunders, who was mentioned in a previous slide. This interesting tidbit has become very popular with subsequent tours. Most importantly, though, have fun. Next, evaluate. Ask for feedback, either verbal or in writing. Reflect on the good and the bad. How can the bad be avoided or fixed for future programs? Be prepared to repeat, repeat, repeat. Word will spread to area organizations, and they are always looking for a speaker. I have done my programs to genealogy societies, to women's clubs, civic and social clubs. Word will spread, and they are always looking for speakers. Sometimes you will end up doing your tour more than once to the same tour group. People will also ask you to do it again since they missed it the first go round. In my cemetery tour, I planned two tours the same day, and people in the first tour were calling friends and family telling them to sign up for the second. Cemetery tours are always popular.
This image is from our most recent cemetery tour. See the megaphone and the jackets? It rained the night before and was unseasonably cold for late October, but we still had great participation. Notice one participant there taking pictures. If you have people in your audience who want to photograph monuments, and if you can manage it and not cause problems for other guests, allow time. It will be appreciated. If you use something like Facebook Live to record your tour, statistics are built in. You may need to enlist your IT department on this, but they can help you with counts. Think about whether or not you accomplished your goal. Document as soon as possible what worked and what can be improved. If you learn something, include that in your notes so that you won't forget. Our contact information is included in the last slide. Thank you and good luck with your own cemetery tour.